Every fortune ever built began first as a thought. Every breakthrough, every triumph, every transformation that ever occurred in this world began not with money, not with luck, not with inheritance, but with the mind. The battlefield of success is not in the markets, not in the economy, not in the external world. It is in the space between your ears. You see, there are two types of minds in this world. One is rooted in growth, and the other is chained to limitation. One dares to believe that life can be shaped, molded, and commanded. The other waits for a better time, a lucky break, a sign. The rich mindset and the poor mindset are not determined by wealth. They are the architects of it. The rich mindset wakes up every day with one silent question echoing in their soul. How can I create? How can I serve? How can I grow? The poor mindset wakes up with a sigh, already defeated, already shrinking from the responsibilities of life, already finding someone or something else to blame for their lack. The difference begins before the day even starts. It begins with intention. The rich mindset looks at problems as puzzles, opportunities waiting to be solved. They don't say, "Why me?" They say, "Why not me?" They don't run from difficulty. They run toward it, because they understand this unchanging law. Within every obstacle is a seed of equal or greater opportunity. The poor mindset, however, is allergic to discomfort. It hides from challenge, and in doing so, hides from greatness. Comfort is the drug of the poor mindset. It seduces with short-term pleasure and robs with long-term stagnation. But the rich mindset, it chooses discomfort on purpose. It embraces discipline. It understands that what is easy now will be hard later, but what is hard now will make life easy. One lives by default, the other by design. The rich mindset delays gratification. It doesn't seek to look rich. It seeks to be rich in mind, in skill, in freedom. While the poor mindset spends to impress, the rich mindset invests to express. While the poor mindset buys things it doesn't need to feel temporary worth, the rich mindset builds lasting value that multiplies. And that value starts with the person in the mirror. The poor mindset fears change. It clings to what is familiar, even if it is painful. It whispers, "This is the way things have always been." The rich mindset doesn't care how things have been. It asks, "How do I want them to be?" And then it moves boldly, even when afraid, even when uncertain, because it knows that action brings clarity. The poor mindset waits for the perfect moment. The rich mindset knows that perfection is a myth and momentum is everything. The rich mindset is obsessed with growth, not just financial, but mental, emotional, spiritual. It reads, it learns. It surrounds itself with minds that challenge and uplift. It invests in relationships that empower. The poor mindset, it resists change. It avoids books. It avoids challenge. It surrounds itself with familiarity, even if that familiarity is mediocrity. The rich mindset takes full responsibility for life. It doesn't point fingers. It doesn't blame the economy, the government, their upbringing, or their partner. It says, if it is to be, it is up to me. This mindset doesn't mean life will be fair, but it means you will be prepared. The poor mindset gives away power by refusing ownership. It stays stuck in the past, reliving what went wrong, instead of building what could go right. And then there's the matter of failure. To the poor mindset, failure is a full stop. It is humiliation. It is proof of unworthiness. But to the rich mindset, failure is feedback. It is the tuition you pay to grow stronger, wiser, better. One sees loss, the other sees lesson. You must understand you don't become rich by chance. You become rich by choice. Not by a single decision, but by a series of decisions made daily, decisions to grow, to stretch, to rise early, to show up, to study, to try again, to build something when nothing exists but your belief. Wealth is not an amount in your bank. It is a result of the way you think, because if you gave a poor mindset $1 million, it would find a way to lose it. But if you gave a rich mindset a single idea and enough time, it would build an empire. The truth is, your mindset is your true currency. So I ask you, what story are you telling yourself about money, about your future, about what you're capable of? Because those stories are either bridges or barriers. They are either the wind behind your back or the weight around your ankles. This isn't about superiority. This isn't about judgment. This is about awakening. This is about choosing to think differently. If you've been raised in a poor mindset, you are not doomed to stay there. You can choose to upgrade your beliefs one powerful thought at a time, because nothing outside will ever shift permanently until something inside transforms completely. The world does not owe you anything, but your mind. It owes you everything if you learn to direct it. The rich mindset is not about pride. It is about purpose. It is not about being better than others. It is about being better than you were yesterday. It is not about waiting for luck. It is about becoming ready for the opportunity when it arrives. So if you truly want to be rich, don't chase money, master your mind. Train your thoughts. Discipline your emotions. Commit to the path. Plant the seeds of belief and water them with action. You will be amazed at what grows, because the greatest riches are reserved for the ones who first become wealthy in thought, in faith, in vision, and in courage. The difference between a successful mind and a stagnant one often begins with how each perceives the same situation. Two people can stand before the exact same challenge. One will see a reason to grow, and the other will see a reason to retreat. This is the invisible yet powerful divide between a mind that sees opportunity and one that sees only obstacles. A person with a growth-oriented mindset, the kind that leads to wealth in all forms, financial, emotional, spiritual, understands something simple but profound. Challenges are not roadblocks, they are invitations. Invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more capable. These individuals are not delusional about difficulty. They are fully aware that the path is hard, but they choose to focus their energy on what can be done, not what is in the way. When most people panic, they pause. When most complain, they calculate. Where others give up, they ask, what can I learn from this? In contrast, someone conditioned to think from a limited mindset sees problems as the end of the road. They experience discomfort and immediately translate it as danger. Their thoughts begin to spiral into self-doubt. Why me? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? This pattern of thinking shuts down creativity and breeds procrastination. And in that mental loop, dreams are delayed, sometimes for a lifetime. But opportunity is rarely dressed in perfection. It often arrives disguised as difficulty. It comes in the form of extra work, rejection, failed attempts, and delayed results. Yet for the one who is alert, who chooses to believe that inside every struggle is a secret advantage, doors begin to open. Not because the world changes, but because their vision does. What you focus on expands. If you focus on obstacles, you will find more reasons not to move. But if you focus on opportunity, even a small one, you start to train your mind to look for possibilities, to take action, to grow stronger each time life tests you. The most successful people in any field are not those who avoided difficulty. They are the ones who learned how to turn adversity into advantage. In truth, there are no problems, only untapped potential in disguise. The moment you reframe your thinking from, why is this happening to me, to, what is this trying to teach me, is the moment you step into a new realm of power. Challenges no longer become threats, they become teachers. When your mindset is rooted in opportunity, your world begins to change. New ideas come, resources show up, people notice, confidence builds, and from that confidence, momentum begins. Not because life got easier, but because your perspective got stronger. And that shift, invisible to the outside world, becomes the most valuable asset you possess. One of the most powerful distinctions between those who create extraordinary lives and those who remain stuck in mediocrity is the ability to hold a long-term vision. It's not talent, luck, or even intelligence. It's the capacity to delay gratification today for a greater outcome tomorrow. The truth is, most people want success, wealth, and happiness, but only a few are willing to wait, sacrifice, and consistently do the work necessary to earn them. The mind trained for long-term vision thinks in years, not hours. It understands that success is not a single event, but a series of disciplined decisions made over time. This type of mind can resist temporary pleasure to build permanent freedom. While the world celebrates short-term wins and superficial appearances, the visionary mind works quietly, stacking value, building character, and aligning actions with future goals. On the other hand, the mindset driven by instant gratification is always looking for the next dopamine hit. It chases comfort, approval, shortcuts, and quick fixes. It spends money it hasn't earned to impress people it doesn't even know. It eats what feels good now, rather than what fuels a better body later. It avoids the hard conversation today, even though it's the key to peace and clarity tomorrow. This mindset is reactive, emotional, and trapped in a cycle of self-sabotage disguised as momentary satisfaction. The person who can think long-term doesn't fall into the trap of urgency that leads to regret. They know that anything worthwhile takes time. Building wealth, mastering a craft, developing emotional intelligence, creating a legacy. They are okay with not seeing results immediately because they trust the process. They plant seeds every day knowing that harvest doesn't come instantly. But when it does, it's abundant. Instant gratification steals more dreams than failure ever will. It whispers, "You deserve this now," while quietly robbing you of your future. It convinces people to quit too soon, give up too easily, and settle too often. But the long-term thinker plays a different game. They see beyond the noise. They understand that success is often invisible at first, that the best things take time to build. Reputation, credibility, discipline, resilience. This mindset is not about deprivation. It's about direction. It's about choosing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. It's about saying no to what distracts you so you can say yes to what defines you. When you hold a long-term vision, your standards rise. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. While the instant gratification mindset seeks entertainment, the long-term thinker seeks education. While one is scrolling, the other is building. While one is watching others live their dreams, the other is building the foundation of their own. The difference is subtle at first, but massive over time. In the end, your future is shaped by what you consistently do, not once, but over years. The ability to delay gratification is one of the highest forms of self-respect and personal power, because the one who chooses vision over impulse becomes unstoppable, not overnight, but for a lifetime. The most valuable asset you will ever have is you, not the car you drive, the house you live in, or the money in your account. The true measure of your potential lies in how much you are willing to invest in your own growth. Mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Those who achieve greatness in any field understand this truth deeply. The world gives to those who first give to themselves. Self-investment is not an occasional act, it is a way of living. It means feeding your mind with knowledge instead of noise, surrounding yourself with people who challenge and uplift you rather than drain and distract you. It means taking care of your body with intention, your emotions with awareness, and your time with purpose. When you invest in yourself, you become more valuable in every area of life. Your career, your relationships, your contribution to others. You sharpen your mind, strengthen your discipline, and deepen your wisdom. People with a wealthy mindset don't see self-investment as optional. They see it as essential. They read when others watch. They learn when others complain. They practice when others procrastinate. They see every dollar spent on personal growth, whether it's a book, course, coach, seminar, or healthy meal, not as a cost, but as a catalyst. They understand that your outer world is always a reflection of your inner world. To expand your life, you must first expand yourself. On the opposite end lies self-neglect, the silent killer of potential. It doesn't always look destructive at first. Sometimes it shows up as comfort. Skipping the workout, just this once. Putting off the book until tomorrow. Saying, "I'll work on my dreams when I have more time." But time never comes for those who wait. Self-neglect accumulates slowly until it becomes your identity. Neglecting yourself doesn't just rob you of success, it robs you of self-trust. When you continually break promises to yourself, you begin to believe that your goals are out of reach. Doubt creeps in, energy drops, and worst of all, you begin to settle, not because your dream was impossible, but because you abandoned yourself in the process. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot lead others if you can't lead yourself. You cannot pour into your family, your business, your community, or your mission if you're running on empty. The richest lives are not built from the outside in, they are built from the inside out. The truth is, you're either growing or declining. There is no neutral state. Every day, you are either investing in becoming a better version of yourself or falling into habits that chip away at your excellence. The path of self-investment requires discipline, sacrifice, and patience. But the rewards, they are immeasurable. Confidence, clarity, courage, capability. You become someone others trust, not because you speak loudly, but because you've earned your strength through the quiet work that no one else sees. So if you're looking for change, don't look outward first. Look inward. Elevate your standards, upgrade your habits, nourish your mind, guard your energy. Show up for yourself, especially when it's hard. Because when you choose self-investment over self-neglect, you don't just change your life. You become someone who can change the world around you. There is a quiet but powerful shift that occurs the moment you stop blaming and start taking full responsibility for your life. That shift marks the beginning of true personal power. Blame keeps you stuck. Responsibility sets you free. It is the line that separates those who live reactively from those who live intentionally. It is the mental boundary between those who wait for life to change and those who decide to change life themselves. Blame is easy. It feels comfortable. It lets you off the hook. It allows you to point the finger at your parents, your past, your partner, the economy, the government, or the circumstances that surround you. Blame creates a story in which you are the victim, and in that story, nothing is ever your fault. But here's the danger. When you give away the blame, you also give away your power. You become a passenger in your own life rather than the driver. You wait for others to fix what only you can heal, solve, or rebuild. Responsibility, on the other hand, is not about guilt. It's not about punishing yourself or pretending that everything that's happened was fair. It's about ownership. It's about saying, even if what happened wasn't my fault, what I do next is entirely up to me. That mindset changes everything. It gives you permission to rise, to move, to choose a different path. It places the pen of your life back in your own hand. Those who succeed in life, truly succeed, have accepted that responsibility is not optional. They don't waste time in denial or excuses. They look at the facts, they own their role, and then they get to work. They ask powerful questions like, what can I learn from this? Or, what can I do to shift this situation? They do not spend years trapped in the past. They are too focused on building the future. Blame keeps people in emotional chains. It's the anchor that holds back growth. And what's worse, it spreads. People who blame attract others who blame. It becomes a culture of helplessness, a cycle of negativity, a habit of always pointing outward instead of inward. And while blaming may offer temporary relief, it always leads to long-term regret. Because deep down, you know that you could have done more, tried harder, taken a different approach. Taking responsibility may feel heavy at first, but it builds strength. It builds credibility with yourself and with others. It builds self-trust, because when you stop hiding behind circumstances and step forward with courage, you begin to believe in your ability to influence your world. You become someone who makes things happen, not someone things happen to. Even in situations where you were wronged, hurt, or betrayed, responsibility empowers you to heal, not because you excuse what happened, but because you refuse to let it define you. You take ownership of your healing, your peace, your next step. That's where real freedom begins. The world does not reward blame. It rewards growth, action, and transformation. And all of those begin with responsibility. If you want to elevate your life, you must first elevate your mindset. Refuse to live in a cycle of blame. Refuse to give your energy to what you can't control. Instead, pour it into what you can, your attitude, your habits, your choices, your response. When you make that shift from blame to responsibility, you become unstoppable. You start to see possibilities instead of problems. You begin to act with clarity instead of confusion. You no longer wait for a break. You create your own breakthroughs. Because the moment you take full ownership of your life is the moment everything begins to change. Not because the world became easier, but because you became stronger. The mindset you carry into each day, whether of abundance or scarcity, quietly shapes the quality of your decisions, the energy behind your actions, and the results you ultimately experience in life. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how many opportunities surround you, or how talented you are. If your thinking is rooted in scarcity, you will always feel limited, threatened, and afraid to take bold action. But if your thinking is grounded in abundance, you will see possibilities where others see lack, and you will create more, give more, and achieve more. Not because you had more, but because you believed you could. An abundance mentality sees life as expansive. It believes that there is more than enough success, love, opportunity, and fulfillment to go around. It doesn't operate from fear or comparison. It celebrates others winning, knowing that one person's gain does not mean another's loss. This mindset allows you to collaborate rather than compete, to contribute rather than cling, and to innovate rather than imitate. You start thinking creatively because you're not worried about someone else taking your share. You know you can build your own. In contrast, a scarcity mentality is rooted in fear. It whispers that there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough love, not enough chances. It keeps people playing small, hoarding resources, and guarding their energy out of the belief that if they give too much, they'll be left with nothing. Scarcity thinking makes people envious of others' success, suspicious of new opportunities, and quick to settle for less because they doubt that better is even possible. It traps people in survival mode, even when they are surrounded by everything they need to thrive. When you live with an abundance mindset, you understand that giving doesn't diminish you, it expands you. You don't hesitate to help others, share ideas, or invest in your growth, because you know that what you give returns multiplied. You understand that value is not a fixed pie, but something you can generate, and that belief frees you from the chains of comparison, fear, and competition. It opens your mind to new solutions and your heart to genuine connection. People who create wealth, impact, and fulfillment in their lives are not always the most gifted, but they are often the most generous in spirit. They look for ways to uplift, to serve, to grow, and to create value. They trust in their capacity to figure things out. They don't allow temporary limitations to define their future, because they know they are the source of new ideas, new strategies, and new energy. That belief alone puts them in a different league. Scarcity, on the other hand, leads to paralysis. It convinces you that because something hasn't happened yet, it never will. It keeps you focused on the worst-case scenario and blind to the best-case possibility. It causes people to shrink back when they should lean in, to hold back when they should move forward, and to stay silent when they should speak boldly. It quietly steals dreams, replacing them with excuses that sound logical but are rooted in fear. Abundance is not about ignoring reality. It's about choosing a more empowered one. It's about knowing that even if you don't have the answers right now, you can learn. Even if you don't have the resources today, you can attract them. Even if you failed in the past, your future can be different. It's about refusing to let the past become a ceiling for your potential. When you choose abundance, you become a magnet for growth. Your energy shifts. Your decisions become aligned with faith, not fear. You start attracting people and opportunities who resonate with possibility. And most importantly, you stop waiting for permission to live fully. You give that permission to yourself. Because when your mind believes there's more than enough, you stop grasping and start growing. And in that space, true wealth of spirit, of purpose, of prosperity begins to flourish. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is often not talent, not connections, and not luck. It is persistence. Persistence is the fire that keeps burning even when the wind of life tries to blow it out. It is the inner voice that says, "Try again." When the world screams, "Give up." It is the refusal to surrender even when the path is slow, the results are invisible, and the progress feels painful. While others wait for the perfect moment, the persistent soul creates it. Passivity, on the other hand, is subtle. It looks harmless at first. It's the decision, wait and see, to hope things change, to try later. But over time, passivity becomes a habit, and that habit becomes a prison. Life begins to feel like it's happening to you instead of being created by you. Opportunities come and go, but without action, they are never seized. Ideas remain dreams, goals remain intentions, and a person with great potential becomes someone with many regrets. Persistent people are not superhuman. They are simply committed, they experience fear, doubt, and failure just like anyone else. The difference is, they don't use those emotions as reasons to stop. They use them as reasons to keep going. They understand that setbacks are not signals to quit. They are signals to grow. Every failure becomes feedback. Every delay becomes a lesson in patience. Every challenge becomes a test of how much they really want it. Persistence is not about forcing results overnight. It's about showing up consistently, day after day, even when the motivation fades, even when no one claps, even when the outcome is uncertain. It's about building habits that align with your vision, and trusting that if you don't give up, life will eventually meet your effort with reward. True success doesn't come from occasional effort. It comes from relentless repetition. Those who live passively often convince themselves that the timing isn't right or that the odds are too high. They wait for more clarity, more confidence, more external approval. But passivity never builds momentum. It only creates distance between who you are and who you could be. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to act. Not because you lack ability, but because you've trained yourself to hesitate. The persistent mind, however, becomes a force of nature. It becomes stronger with each trial. It builds resilience, clarity, and inner confidence. It begins to believe, not because the journey is easy, but because every small win proves that movement matters more than perfection. Persistence rewires the brain to value discipline over distraction, courage over comfort, and forward motion over waiting. Life rewards those who show up, not once, not twice, but consistently with purpose and patience. It doesn't matter how slowly you go if you do not stop. Persistence doesn't guarantee immediate results, but it does guarantee eventual transformation. The seeds you plant today may take time to bloom, but if you keep watering them with effort, focus, and belief, the harvest will come. In the end, passivity costs more than persistence ever will. It costs you time, growth, and self-respect. Every day you hesitate is a day you could have built something: skills, opportunities, character. So if you're waiting for a sign, let this be it. Push forward. Act now. Persist with all your heart, because nothing in this world can stop the one who refuses to quit. In the final analysis, the journey from a poor mindset to a rich one is not defined by material possessions, luck, or external conditions. It is defined by the quality of our thoughts, the discipline of our actions, and the vision we hold for ourselves. The difference lies in the daily choices we make, whether to seek opportunity or focus on obstacles, whether to think long-term or chase instant gratification, whether to invest in our growth or neglect our potential, whether to take full responsibility or assign blame, whether to adopt a mindset of abundance or operate from scarcity, and whether to persist through adversity or remain passive in comfort. A rich mindset is not about arrogance or greed. It is about empowerment. It is about refusing to be limited by your past or paralyzed by your present. It is about rising even when it's hard, choosing discipline when it's easier to make excuses, believing in your ability to shape your future even when no one else sees your vision. As you move forward, remember this: transformation begins the moment you take control of your mindset. What you believe shapes what you become. If you think like a builder, a leader, a creator, you will begin to act like one. And eventually, your world will mirror that shift. This is not just a motivational idea. It's a truth backed by countless examples of people who came from nothing and built legacies simply because they chose to think differently. You have that same power within you. Nurture it, protect it, use it. The rich mindset is not for the chosen few. It is for the few who choose it. Choose wisely. Choose now.